What's up, welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of The Night Manager Season 2, out now on Amazon Prime Video in the US, BBC in the UK. This show is back after a 10-year gap, of course, premiering as a limited series back in 2016, getting a ton of Emmy nominations, high-profile cast with its star Tom Hiddleston, as well as Hugh Laurie, Olivia Colman, Elizabeth Debicki, Tom Hollander, young Noah Jupe when he was still just a kid. Definitely one of the most high-profile and glossiest limited series during the peak TV era, which already feels like so long ago. But having a limited series with a cast that high-profile was pretty notable back then, right? This is the time of Big Little Lies on HBO, right? And Night Manager actually premiered in the US on AMC for season 1, and now it's switched over to Amazon for this second season. The best thing about The Night Manager season 2 is it's great to watch Tom Hiddleston do normal things again on screen outside of the Marvel bubble. Perhaps surprising that this show came back for a second season 10 years since its debut. It is great to be back in this John le Carré world once again. There's nothing inherently special or new about this series, but simply a modern told spy craft story jet-setting around the globe with a clearly very lavish budget on hand goes a long way. This is definitely a more serious, stricter tone than, say, what Slow Horses gets up to on Apple. This may not be everyone's spy flavor, but if you just want to watch modern day spycraft stuff, see Tom Hiddleston be pretty debonair, it's giving you what you want. Olivia Colman is also back for season 2, reprising her handler, spy manager character, although she's not exactly in the series all that much. The specter of Hugh Laurie's character from the first season looms incredibly large over season 2, but considering I had really no expectations and this season 2 even existing is pure gravy at this point, I'm pleasantly surprised thus far. Now, one thing that is quite notable at season 2 is that this is not nearly as comparable of a cast, right? Hugh Laurie, Elizabeth Debicki, Tom Hollander, like, we don't have like this level of depth in terms of like well-known stars, but there is some compelling people here that are new. I think most notably would be Diego Calva as this season's big bad, probably best well known for his role in Damien Chazelle's Babylon a few years back. Also Indira Varma is here, Camilla Morone. So I like the overall premise here and I think it actually is a pretty like deft way to continue this series, which again existed as a limited series. Season 1 was a pretty strict adaptation of the le Carré novel. Season 2 was a pretty clearly a brand extension, but you know, we're jumping ahead to modern times, so this 10-year gap has effectively taken place for these characters. And Tom Hiddleston's character of Jonathan Pine from season 1, he's now assumed a new identity of Alex Goodwin, and he's the head of a spy house in the UK, the Night Owls. It's a surveillance unit. It's not nearly as glamorous or involved in the field as his previous work led us to believe with season 1. He's basically assumed a new identity. But very quickly, we have a mystery plot with a murder, and things get quite out of hand after the first episode. Jonathan/Alex has effectively killed a good amount of his team after going pseudo-rogue in the process because he has this tick. He has this obsession with connections to the events of season 1 and Hugh Laurie's character, who of course passes away at the conclusion of season 1, or at least how we're led to believe. They're certainly leaving it open that he might not actually be dead. The very first scene we see in season 2 is a flash back to 4 years from today, where we see Hiddleston and Olivia Colman identify the body in Syria. So that's clearly at least presented as a red herring. We'll see how that pans out. I did enjoy a lot of that spycraft in the first episode, though, in terms of planting bugs and just kind of spying on people and doing it in the daylight, at a computer screen, a lot of that modern spycraft stuff. I do really enjoy it, and I think just there was a nice rhythm to the pilot of Night Manager season 2. I'll be curious if that's able to maintain itself throughout the full 6 episodes. Notably, this show actually premiered a few weeks back on BBC, 1 episode a week, and then Amazon dropped all 3 at once in the US. So now we're kind of all caught up together in the world here, which is certainly a change, right? Of course. I mean, back in the day, British shows used to come out months, sometimes years before they would make their way over to the US, and that can still be the case in a certain extent with stuff being on BritBox before it actually gets to us here. But it is kind of cool that wall is coming down, right? I remember very vividly of what it was like to watch Black Mirror before Netflix acquired it, right? And how the access here was a lot less clear and legal at the time. Season 2, episode 1, though, definitely gave us a lot of jet setting, a lot of budget, right? We go from the UK, we go to Catalonia, Spain. That hotel on the water looked very lavish, very cool. So in terms of the pure plot, I don't think there's anything to like get super invested in. It's more about seeing how things unfold, and whether I'm super invested in the Jonathan Pine character, I'm not sure. Maybe his obsession with Hugh Laurie's villain will bog down the show. You do have this interlude with Noah Jupe in the first episode where he's at boarding school, basically familyless. Noah Jupe now a young man, as we've seen recently in Hamnet. I'd be curious if he comes back for future scenes as well with any magnitude. I'm not sure. But either way, it's cool that the show's back, and I like the early returns. Let me know, though, what'd you think of The Night Manager Season 2? What'd you like most about it? And for more TV reviews, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.